Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Sabido Nights. It's another very exciting night as we have a very wonderful speaker tonight. I'm sure every one of us will learn a lot from her. She's an institution in the Philippine beekeeping industry. So please just let me share my screen so I can introduce her properly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, Charlie. And for those of you who are watching us on Facebook Live, welcome again to Sabido Nights, conversations about the fascinating world of bees and honey. So tonight, our topic is beekeeping in 2023, moving on from the pandemic. I'm sure we all have our own stories to share of what happened to us and our families and our bees for the last 2 years of the pandemic. But we're just so grateful and thankful to God that we're still here and ready to move on. I think there are a lot of things that are going to happen for beekeepers, not just in the Philippines, but all over the world now that we're back to what we call the new normal. And to help us to share insights on this very timely topic, I have invited, as mentioned earlier, somebody who's highly esteemed, not just in the beekeeping industry, but in the academe. So we have with us, I don't have the permission to age reveal, so I didn't indicate anymore when she finished all these degrees. So our distinguished guest speaker finished Bachelor of Science in Agriculture at the University of the Philippines, Los Banos, and later on she pursued Master of Science in Entomology, and then she went to the UK at the University of Wales to pursue her doctorate in ecology, pollination biology, and she is currently Professor Emeritus at UPLB. So without further delay, please help me welcome on screen our very own Queen Bee of the Philippines, Ma'am Cleo, Dr. CLEOFAS R. Cervancia. Ma'am Cleo, thank you so much for gracing us tonight with your presence.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting me, Alex, on this very enjoyable event. I'm glad you restored this in 2020.
I hope I can sustain more because it takes time also to prepare. But as much as I can, I'll do because I also want to share my passion about bees and learning from all the guests, and it gives me great joy and honor also to have you tonight. Okay, Mom, let's get started. So as I've introduced earlier, you started with the BS in agriculture. What made you pursue masters in entomology po?
Yeah, because my BS agriculture, I majored also in entomology. Now, because BS agriculture, it consists of so many major areas. So you can have agronomy, communications, plant pathology. And it happened that I work as a student assistant in the Department of Entomology. So there was a vacant position then for a student assistant. So I applied there. I was admitted. So yeah, I was interested in insects. That's why I majored in entomology for my bachelor's degree. And since I'm hooked to it, I pursued also MS in insects or entomology as well until PhD. So
Okay.
no turning back, insects through and through.
So would you say, Mom, that you got fascinated with bees after pursuing your master's degree, or you first got fascinated with bees, that's why you pursued the other way around? Not necessarily.
Okay, the bees came later in life, you know. In entomology, we did not study beekeeping. And
That's not part of the curriculum?
we just learned about bees are, of course, insects, Hymenoptera. There are so many species, the taxonomy, the biology, but not really beekeeping per se. Well, even in my MS degree, no, I didn't study honeybees because I worked on insecticide toxicology. So I work on different chemicals used doing this biological assay. So also in entomology. But when I did a PhD, it's because of my major thrust, of course, was ecology and like insect ecology and specializing because as you advance in your degree, you become more specialized.
Mm-hmm.
So ecology is kind of very general and I chose pollination biology. So I just happened that insects are just one, I mean bees are just one of the many pollinators.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my entry point in beekeeping. It's because I studied pollination biology. Along with the other pollinating insects, like of course we have the butterflies, the beetles. Yeah.
Yeah, for the benefit of our viewers, and I'd like to welcome here right now, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine and Charlie, for joining us on Zoom. If you have any questions all throughout this discussion, just chat, or you can even ask by raising your hands. Thank you. So I attended the UPB program April of 2022 last year. So that was parang hybrid pa po siya, via Zoom yung theory, and then we had the practicum. But Ma'am Cleo really shared a lot of information about pollination, what are the bee plants, and etc. So I think we're just starting with this episode. I might invite you for another episode on pollination or the insecticides naman. So
Yeah, it should be very interesting,
yeah,
the pollination thing.
yeah. So going back now, ma'am, can you share with us when did you start beekeeping per se na? So you mentioned that it was at your entry point. So where was it, at UPLB or at your on your own personal endeavor? Could you just quickly describe your journey into beekeeping po?
Yeah, it's not really a personal endeavor. It's just for academic pursuit because it's part of my research. And I was really inspired by Dean Pacifico Payawal. So I always acknowledge him because he really literally put me into this pollination biology thing because I then worked for the Department of Science and Technology after my graduate studies because I was the OST scholar and I need to work there. And then it happened that I was invited to join UPLB. So it was, of course, I was with the Department of Entomology, and then the director of Institute of Biological Sciences invited me to join IBS to develop pollination biology. And of course, I want something new because it sounded too interesting for me, and the motivation was there, and nobody was working on it. That's why I did not regret because otherwise, so I owe it to that guy, to Dean Payawal, because otherwise I could have been, working on other aspects of
Insects.
technology, maybe simulation modeling,
Mm.
and maybe I was not this focused on bees. And then since bees are one of the good pollinators, so that's why I had this training in UK with a good foremost pollination biologist, Professor John Free. So I took advantage of that. So I learned a lot from him. So yeah, my interest in bees and other pollinators, it did not stop. So that's why I continuously am until now doing pollination biology. And since bees are maybe the most popular pollinators and because of its economic value to our farmers, that's why I'm here. I'm still hooked up with the bees.
Okay. So you started out with What species po? Would it be mellifera, Apis mellifera?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Apis mellifera.
Kasi stingless bees
Actually, yeah,
relatively new.
it was very funny because I work on Apis mellifera. And then because I studied in UK and these native bees, it was unheard of. And I was just,
Mm.
I do my work on pollination. And then I met with one, I met Dr. Ken McKay, who was, a director of International Development Research Center based in Canada. So he told me, "Oh, would you like some funds?" Of course. But yeah, we need pollination research, but you need to work on native bees.
Bees.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I don't know anything about native bees. I know only Apis mellifera.
Mm.
And this Dr. McKay, he sent me to Malaysia just
Wow.
to study the Apis cerana. So it's a course. A
Mm.
course on native bees. And not only that, um, he also gave fund to my assistant because I have a research assistant, so the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I learned Apis cerana. And
Wow.
then, of course, it's very dynamic. The field is very dynamic. And since we are really looking at pollination, that's why we spotted the potential of stingless bees. And that was like in maybe 1989. So
Okay.
we started our work on stingless bees.
So you're really a pillar in the beekeeping community, and you've handled all three Apis mellifera, Serrana, now stingless bees. Okay. So what keeps you at your age? I'll not reveal your age. At your age, what keeps you passionate po with the beekeeping? Because you never stop. I've seen you sa Bohol when you went around so many bee farms. I can still see your passion po. What keeps you going when it comes to beekeeping?
Yeah, actually, I'm 75 years old,
Ay,
going
kayo pong nag-reveal.
April.
But you
Yeah,
don't look your age really,
I'm
no.
very proud to be
Yeah.
75. Yeah,
You don't
it's
really
just
look your
like
age. Yeah.
three-fourths, because but, so yeah, actually, I keep on saying, actually, it's not a passion.
Mm.
I'm not really too passionate about it, but I'm doing it because there is a need for me to do it. So I should say, because of the urgency, because of the need. So maybe passion is just secondary because I know I can help. So that's it.
Mm.
Because who wouldn't like spending the weekend watching movie, going around, and so it's all like doing field works with the farmers. With Well, of course, we enjoy doing work with the beekeepers, but not really. It's also very exhausting, very,
Mm.
yeah, we are also getting tired, but of course, the need, the need to do it
Yes.
because, yeah, the urgency, not the passion may be a kind of like secondary.
Mm.
Or I call this call of duty, probably, even at
Okay.
75. Yeah.
And a lot of farmers and communities are benefiting from all your programs and projects, and it's really something very, very noble and laudable po. Oh, all right. So after that quick intro about how you got into beekeeping and all of those information you shared, let's move to the topic po. So, ma'am, where were you when the first lockdown was announced in mid-March of 2020?
Well, I'm at UPLB,
Uh,
and I have a house also here in Calamba, which is a farm, and we have parts of our experiment here. Our apiary is here. That's why it didn't affect so much, our beekeeping activities, except
okay.
for the projects, the inter-island projects that our trips were limited. So.
Okay, so I'll quickly share naman po right now the presentation regarding your projects. But while I'm looking for the file po, ma'am, can you quickly share with us naman what were your projects and initiatives during or prior to the pandemic? What were your key projects that you were working on?
Yeah. So we had a project then, well, together with my team at UP Los Banos.
Mm.
Yeah, I see Jack is here.
Yeah, thank
And
you, Ma'am Jack, for
others. Now
joining.
we have a project, community-based beekeeping project at Lanao del Norte. So we are
Wow.
assisting 3 communities there, Tubod, Kapatagan, and SND. And then we have also project in Mindoro. So it's inter-island. It's very far
Mm.
from, So it's amongst the indigenous people's community, the Mangyan. So
Mm.
those were the 2 projects that we were handling during the pandemic. And of course, other projects that are based at UPLB. But those are the, it was very hard to travel then.
Okay. Ma'am, can you see the slide in the screen po?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm so impressed that you had projects as far as Lanao. So I'm sure a lot of the people there benefited from that project.
Yeah,
Can you tell
actually,
us brief? Yes, what?
yeah, that's a phase 2 of our project because several years ago we had our phase 1, the aim of which is just to teach beekeeping in those 3 communities.
Mm.
Now, maybe our funding agency, they saw that, well, it was successful, kinda, and then they gave us a phase 2 just to elevate it into an enterprise. So why not make it as an enterprise? Beekeeping. It was challenging because it's very hard because you should really show that beekeeping should earn money.
Mm.
That's why we have our economist in our team. So we have Dr. Agham Cuevas, because here the key is collaboration because we are not good at economics. So we have our economists. We are not good in sociology or so. So we have in our team a sociologist. So it's really interdisciplinary. And then the other one was in Mindoro. It was also part 2 because we have had initial project with ABS-CBN Foundation. And then we also got fund, to elevate or to have that like level 2 for establishing an enterprise. So we have just completed this project just this year. Yeah, I think this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I'll jump ahead po. Since you mentioned about those 2 projects in Mindoro and Lanao, uh, how did it go during the pandemic when none of you and your team could travel there to monitor the progress? Did you do it virtually or were,
Uh,
what were the
mm.
challenges in the sustainability of those projects in the 2 years that we were in the pandemic po?
Oh, it was difficult because at the early stage of this pandemic, it really restricted travel. And
Mm.
then, of course, senior citizens cannot travel. And then, but thanks to the communication facilities, we can do
Zoom.
virtual, the Zoom, and then we can what happened there? Are the bees there? So we can sort of communicate with them. And that was the time when we developed our bee pasture, because part of the project, by the way, the success of our beekeeping projects depends largely on forage resources. So
Mm.
during the pandemic, well, there was the time that we built a nursery. We really propagated bee plants because we brought it to the project sites, and then we gave some to some beekeepers. So these propagating materials, that's what we did. We did a lot of gardening, but of course with bee plants that are also equally aesthetic. Magaganda rin naman yung mga bee plants. And then, but we were able, when the travel restrictions
East na.
eased up, we sent our boys, our beekeepers, who are also knowledgeable about bees. So yeah, they were able to travel, but I wasn't able to. But at certain point, Jack, and some of our younger staff were able to continue bee product processing. And yes, I managed to go to Lanao also during that period. So we were able to manage. We managed, to sustain the project despite the pandemic. Now, because the bees, you just give proper instructions to the people on the ground. So it was difficult, but we were able to survive.
That's very good to hear po. On a personal note naman sa akin, in December of 2019, I brought home 2 colonies of Apis mellifera to our hometown in Ilocos. Because my plan was every month, parang dadalawan ko yung parents ko. My father was already 83 years old. My mother was 78. Parang every month, gusto ko silang dalawin. So parang kung pupunta lang din ako doon, parang meron din akong binibisita doon na bees. Kaso nag-lockdown nung March. So from March onwards, hindi na po ako nakatravel. I just gave instructions to my brother, but he really is not into it naman. Nawala yung dalawang bees. So yeah, that's my experience naman po when it comes to beekeeping during the time of the pandemic. And then nag-expand ako nang nag-expand. I had colonies in Parañaque, sa ninong ko namin sa kasal. Meron din po ako sa Taguig, sa vacant lot ng friend namin. Tapos yun nga, nag-pandemic na, 6 weeks na hindi ko nadalaw yung bees on both locations. So nung nag-lift na, parang from ECQ naging GCQ na ba yata? Hindi ko na matandaan kung ano yung mga terms. Basta 6 straight weeks hindi ako nakadalaw. Tapos yung mga nandun, di sila trained. Parang nakilagay lang talaga ako, pinayagan nila. Grabe, ang kapal po ng mga burr combs. Tapos buti na lang, nakapag second floor pa ako bago nag-lockdown. So yun lang, puro burr combs na po yung nakita ko. I'll share in one of the photos later on. But that was the challenge that I had. So nung 2021, nasabi ko, we're not yet sure what will be the protocols again for 2021. I don't want that thing to happen again. I decided to remove na yung colonies ko sa Parañaque and Taguig. I moved them to Manila, and fortunately, thank God, nakapasok po ako ng Museo Pambata naman. So closer to home na kasi I'm just in San Andres Bukid. So yun. So naging maganda naman po yung naging effect kasi at saka wala na masyadong mga lockdowns noong 2021. Yun. That's for me. But can you share naman po what yeah, I'm so happy with this one. Yung nakalagay dito, more time to write. I'm a recipient of this book. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Jack.
You're welcome.
I got this book. I'm gonna read it pa. But I already have 2 stingless bees colonies here in Manila. So far, okay naman po sila. And I'm sure this book will be a great help. Can you tell us more about what we see on screen, Ma'am? Thank you.
Okay, so idagdag ko din, one of the advantages, that's why we were able to sustain the colonies. They were all stingless bees. But you can figure out if those bees in our sites were mellifera bees, I think we will be losing all of them. Now, because mellifera needs really regular monitoring.
Especially honey flow.
Honey flow and the level of skills,
Yes.
You really need to guide. So luckily we have the stingless bees. And since it wasn't really managed that well, you didn't open it very often, that's why it grew. These bees, if left undisturbed and you let them be on their own, it's good for them.
Mm.
if we will not be disturbing them. But anyway, yeah, we had the virtual trainings. And then when the time that the restrictions were not really that tight, so we were able to hold a hands-on of the practicum, Monday practicum. And then that is the time also when we time to write all those data publications, and then crafting of standards for best practices. So all those paperwork we're able to do during the pandemic.
Mm.
That's one of the advantages, yeah.
Okay, tapos yun na nga, ang daming naging plantitos, plantitas.
Oo, plantitas,
I remember
plantitas.
yung Bureau of Plant, BPI, namigay pa
Oo.
sila ng mga seeds sa Manila. Tapos yung roof namin, dahil may mga bees kami noon, nagtanim kami ng mga ampalaya na pinamigay nila. Namunga din. Tapos nakikita ko yung mga bees namin. Talagang pinupuntahan yung mga bulaklak ng mga ampalaya. So, it's one of the things that got us busy during the pandemic. Okay, so moving on po, looking back, what would you consider to be the top negative impacts naman of the pandemic to beekeeping?
Yeah. Of course, the flow of supplies, beekeeping supplies, it was a problem. And the one that I can think, the negative impact, the proliferation of this online selling of honey, because the people, they cannot go out, so they depend on online platform.
Mm.
And all the based on the finding of the OST. Only 20% of the honey sold in the Philippines in supermarket, it's adulterated, and only 20% is authentic.
Mm.
And those from online platform, online selling, were all adulterated. So that's it. That's a negative impact.
Yeah, I think na napansin talaga natin yun as early as siguro May 2020 po yun. Parang pinagsamantalahan nila yung mga tao na everybody knows kasi the health benefits of pure authentic honey, and then naglabasan na lang kung ano-anong mga brand, then puro Facebook post nila, ang daming mga deliveries, but kawawa lang talaga yung mga consumers who are really believing that these have health benefits, but it's the other way around.
Yeah. Yun yung pinaka-negative impact na nakita ko sa Tapos din yung mga some beekeepers, they were not able to do some breeding, kaya wala ding mga queens.
Yes,
so naging problema din yun.
Okay. So I think you mentioned po yun nga when it comes to those negative impacts, but let's look at the bright side naman. What do you consider as the positive things naman that happened during the pandemic?
Yeah, as you see here, as in our list, to summarize yung our conversation with Alex. Now, during the lockdown, as we stay at home, the bees were subjected to less pollution and human disturbance. So they were very happy then. And decrease in car traffic led to less air pollution and enabled the bees to flourish and forage better. It was also better for us, di ba? Less pollution.
Tsaka ano po, nakakaano lang na during the height of the lockdown, ang dami talagang mga wild bees coming to the metropolis. So may mga nagme-message sa mga beekeeping groups. Even to me, nagpa-private message, nagpapa-rescue. Paano daw ba tanggalin yung mga wild bees na nandun sa park or dun sa bakuran nila. So I think it speaks well about the quality of the environment during those times.
Yeah, it's an indication.
Opo.
And then it also resulted in several hazardous. There were less application of pesticides in the field, so
Mm,
it was also good for the bees and other types of pollution.
mm,
So the wildflowers, some were not able to fix their garden, their farm. That's why there were plenty of wild plants growing. I don't want to call them weeds because we beekeepers do not consider any plant visited by the bees as weeds.
weeds,
We
yes.
would like to maintain them in the farm. So those were the, as I can see as the positive impact of the pandemic on bees and beekeeping. So there are bright sides as well. Yeah.
Okay po. And then how can we as beekeepers sustain naman or build on those positive impacts post-pandemic?
Okay. Post pandemic, I should say, well, some negative impact post pandemic. Of course, the cost of sugar.
Ay, oo, grabe.
Hello, mellifera beekeepers. I
Hanggang
know.
ngayon, umaaray kami.
I can feel you.
From 55 per
That's the
kilo ngayon,
greatest.
110.
Yeah, that's the greatest impact. And let's face it, so people don't get us wrong. We need to feed the bees during the dearth period. Well, especially for mellifera bees. Now, for stingless bees, they produce surplus. That's why you may not need to feed them because they store, it's their instinct. They gather a lot and they have this surplus honey. But in mellifera, yeah. And besides, I know that when you harvest to the last drop, you get it because you would like to recover the cost. So we need to feed the bees during rainy season. And of course, good beekeepers, they withdraw all the feeding when the honey flow season starts so that the honey will be authentic and it wouldn't contain a large quantity of the so-called sucrose. Yeah, so it's part of the best beekeeping practices. So it's really the cost of sugar. And of course, one of the problems that I see pre and post pandemic is the quality of the bees that we are selling. And well, I'm speaking of the mellifera bees, the proliferation of bad queens, so-so queens. Some are selling unmated queens. Some are selling like untested queens. That's why it's a major setback to mellifera beekeeping. And the queens are very expensive.
Yeah,
So,
nag-increase na din. Dati po, nung nag-start ako to 2019 to 1,800 lang. Ngayon, 2,200 na yung instrumentally inseminated.
oo nga eh. Kaya nga, yun ang problema. It's really a big problem because we must have quality queen because the queen is the hive. If you have bad queen, well, it will you will not progress. You will not succeed. So I'd like to appeal to the seller of the queens. Please sell good queens. And if I may comment, to our beekeeper friend, you buy from people who are legitimate, people who are really doing breeding, people na may apiary, who are, yun talagang may bees. Now, because if a beekeeper can feel the needs of the fellow beekeeper, but the traders, they wouldn't, I think,
Yes.
They wouldn't
Mas
because
walang
they are
malasakit.
yeah, wala. It's really like money. And I cannot blame them. Everybody would like to make profit. But the heart of a beekeeper, they have this special touch for the beekeeper. So kung bibili kayo doon na sa talagang nagbibreed, doon nasa talaga nagko-queen rearing.
Reputable.
Yeah, get it from a legitimate beekeeper. Yun talagang may apiary. Yun talagang may bees. Now, do not buy from people who yung mga who has only few colonies. Mga 20 lang. So, yung talagang totoong beekeeper ang bibilhan natin. So, to make sure, because not unless we solve the problems on the queen, even if you have good forage resources, well, it wouldn't do any good as well. So walang magagawa yung forage resources natin if we have genetically or we have so-so or bad queens. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very, very good reminder po. And that's for mellifera. How about po, ma'am, for stingless bees naman?
Well, stingless bees it's very sustainable. I'm for those how will I say this? If you don't have that much capitalization, now I think you should go for native bee species. So that's my piece of advice. Because sa stingless bee, we are not dependent on importation of queens, because if you rear them properly, they will make the queens that they make
Princesses.
would be good queens. Yeah.
When it comes naman po, ma'am, to the taking of feral colonies, what can you say to those sellers?
Yeah, it's a very good point, Alex, that you brought it down. I noticed, well, based on what you put in the and the Facebook, you are openly selling feral colonies. It's unlawful now because we have an act, this Wildlife Act.
Yeah,
and this
can you tell us a little bit more about this, because our viewers may not be familiar about it right now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, because in a nutshell, to put it simply, a hunting of wild species, be it plants or insects or animals, it is prohibited by law. It is unlawful. So in other words, bawal pong manguha ng wild colonies ng stingless bees. Iyon po ay pinagbabawal ng batas. Yeah, kaya we are violating Republic Act 9147.
So may enforcement issues po tayo right now kasi when you look at the beekeeping Facebook groups, until now, ang dami. Pamurahan pa nga sila ng mga prices eh. So
oo, it will set back our ecosystem.
Yeah.
At saka din it will mawawalan tayo ng genetic resources. Kokonti na nga baka mawala sa atin to, and it's a very precious resource. Yun. Kasi then some are just parang very careless silang mag-hunt. I have observed also, they just put it in sa mga sako. And then yung hunt nila, ang dami ring namamatay, like 50%.
Yeah.
They hunt for like 100. Now 50 will die. So could you imagine?
I remember, ma'am, one of the sites that I will not mention na lang no kung sino yung nagbenta, but in one of the sites we visited in Bohol last year, hindi pa nalinis talaga yung feral colony na nilagay sa box eh. So hindi nag-survive yata yung maraming colonies na pinili. So they need training din. Well, ang sarap pong makipagkwentuhan sa inyo, but it's already 8:42. For those of you who are with us in Zoom right now, if you have any questions for Ma'am Cleo, you can raise your hands or you can type in the chat box. Also, for those who are watching via Facebook Live, I'd like to acknowledge Edwin Fetalino from Sultan Kudarat. Thank you for watching. And I'll just check po kung may mga questions, but For now, I don't see any. So just to share, I missed to share this earlier. Ito po yung sinasabi ni Ma'am na na-publish ng DOST. This was the first phase in 2020. Ma'am, di ba? 2020 po to. December 2020.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for the result of the phase 2 kasi nag-collect sila ng samples last year. So I hope anytime now, within this early part of the year, ma-release na rin yung result nun.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sana nag-improve na yung
So,
number, hindi nag-deteriorate further.
tapos yun ding 20% na authentic honey. Galing din yun, sample din yun na galing sa totoong beekeeper. So doon din kinuha nating samples na, ayan, to our beekeeper friends, sila din yung nagbigay ng sample. So hindi yun binili, kundi doon kinuha, it was sourced from beekeepers.
Yeah, okay po. Yun. So we have other viewers, Sahid Zahin and Hil Hinay Hinay. Thank you for watching. Ma'am, meron pong question right now. I think it's related to insecticide use. So I'll just read it po from Victor Mariano. Thank you for this question. Good evening po. If may mite yung hive, hindi wala. If may mite yung hive tapos nag-treat ng miticide, contaminated na po ba yung honey? Yun.
Hindi naman, but meron tayong time when you will treat. Kasi naman ang the mites, starting June, madami yan. You can treat from June to October. Pag mag-honey flow, you withdraw all those treatments, yung miticide. And then some miticides are safe naman, but there is a protocol. Pag honey flow, huwag kang maglalagay ng miticide. So it's a decision. Do I mag-harvest ba ako o magpapakain ng colony? So if you decide to harvest, withdraw all those miticides. So my answer, if done properly, it will not contaminate the hive products.
Okay, thank you po. Another question. Any referrals where to buy best mellifera queen? Can we mention names or?
No, we are not. Basta yung
You ask around na lang,
buy,
Alvin Lopez.
Basta doon sa maraming, yung malaki yung yard, doon kayo pili. Yung talagang legitimate na they are doing clearing. Do not buy from traders. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you.
Basta sa beekeeper kayo bibili, beekeeper who are really doing queen rearing.
Si Charlie Daniel Tamayo, sabi niya po, salamat po pala sa libro ng Stingless Bee, ma'am.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I hope it can help in a way. Yeah, it's very simple. Parang sa tingin namin, ako parang alam na rin naman nila itong naandito. But yeah, thank you anyway.
Then may humabol po, si Catherine Lauren. Hello, Ma'am Cleo. Hope I could still request for a book po. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will pass on to Jack. I think Jack is here. So
Ma'am
si
Jack is here.
Yeah, we will take note of that. Okay.
And then again from Alvin po, is it okay to have mellifera and stingless bees? I think, yeah, I think that should be the question. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Huwag mo lang pagtatabihan. Do not put them side by side. Kasi yung mga stingless bees, mga maldita yan they rub. Pinapasok yung
kasi maliliit sila.
Oo, maliit sila. So they will steal the honey. It will irritate your mellifera bees. So huwag mong magkatabi, maybe on one side of the house and then the other side of the house, so it should be okay. So the answer is yes, you can grow them together, but not magkatabi.
I think this should be the last. It's just a comment. Pumahabol lang po si Alvin. Pwede rin makahingi ng book po. Alvin Lopez. So, here on Zoom right now.
Sige. So you just, yung mga address and yeah, i-email nyo, i-message nyo yung B program.
Okay. Yun po. So, that's about it for now. Just for those who are with us on Zoom and those viewing on Facebook Live right now, this photo was taken last September. So this was the first BNet conference after the 2-year pandemic. It was held in Bohol in September. So before the pandemic, every year kasi meron pong BNet conference. BNet stands for it's the Beekeepers Network Foundation of the Philippines. If you'd like to become member, you can inquire. So yun, these are the delegates from Luzon. So I was with Ma'am Cleo and Ma'am Jack and the other beekeepers here from Luzon po. Okay, so I'll stop share. Okay, Ma'am, can I just ask one more question pala?
Yeah, please.
Kasi you've been doing this training sa UPLB, your B program po. Do you know of any of your students or trainees na they stopped keeping bees because of the pandemic? And if you could share some of their stories, why and what happened to them?
Wala naman.
Wala
I
naman.
can tell you, wala
It's
namang
good, it's
nag-stop
good.
dahil sa
Uh,
pandemic yan.
And so I think the key thing here is the more that we should, the keyword really is adaptability. So challenges in life will come, but we just go, we just do what we need to do, and still have that faith that God will bless our endeavors. And we're just so grateful, really, that we're still here. It's the new
Yeah, we're still
2023 na.
here.
Any parting words, Ma'am?
Yeah, we offer training courses, UPLBB program. You just visit the Facebook page ng B program, nandun yung schedule namin. I think
I
we
have it here
have,
po. I'm gonna share it po, Ma'am. I have it here po.
okay, please. All right. So you are all invited to, you may want to attend. So the earliest,
Yeah,
February
this one.
16, yeah.
Just 2
Yeah.
weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now. If you miss in February, we have in April, May, July, September, and November. Yep.
Ma'am, question
So
po, is
that
this going to be
yeah.
face-to-face na or Zoom pa rin yung portion ng theory?
All right. So 3 days Zoom and then 2 days face-to-face.
Oh, it's better now. Kasi last year
Yeah,
po,
it's
4 days Zoom.
yeah.
So, ayan. So, nag-message na si Alvin na I'll just forward na lang po yung kanyang address.
Sige, sige.
May pumahabol si Lucille Paroden. Thank you for joining. To Ma'am Cleo, is there a student discount for the intensive bee training po?
Pag-usapan, advice ko yan si Lucille. Hi, Lucille.
Okay po.
Thank
you, Ma'am, for joining po. And so, where were we? So, yun po, was that your parting words na po, Ma'am, for this?
Yeah, I think that's all. And you just message us sa B program. Meron tayong Facebook page. Sa mga
it's here po, and the Gmail is here as well.
Yeah, and the email. So any concern, we can give you all support. Wag lang financial, ha? Technical support. Yeah.
So screenshot nyo na lang po or take a photo of this so you can get in touch with Ma'am Cleo and her team after this night. Thank you, everyone. Then, if you could just still stay for a while po for those who are on Zoom right now, and let me just award this appreciate. Oh, ito po yung nabanggit ko kanina pala na na Burcombs dun sa Parañaque. Kapal talaga.
Sige nga, Alex, yung Burcomb, yan.
So talagang, so ang ginawa ko na lang po, pinahinog ko na lang kasi sayang din po, chunks na siya. So that was,
you can sell, yeah. Cut kong bani.
6 weeks akong hindi nakapunta kasi po doon. Yan.
Okay.
All right, so we've come to the end of Sabi Do Nights. So World Bee Day Philippines awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. CLEOFAS, our Cervancia, for sharing valuable information and insights as guest speaker in this 3rd episode of Sabi Do Nights, entitled Beekeeping in 2023, Moving On from the Pandemic, held via Facebook Live at Sabi Do Nights Facebook page this 21st day of January 2023. signed by myself as organizer and founder of World Bee Day Philippines. Ma'am Cleo, thank you so much po. We learned a lot from you.
Yeah, you're
Stay
welcome.
safe and
And
see you soon
yeah.
sa next events ng Beekeeping Binet siguro.
Yeah.
Okay, so to those who joined here on Zoom, thank you. And also for those who watch on Facebook Live, thank you po. So next Saturday, it will be the 4th episode. We'll be hearing naman from Ma'am Net. That's Ma'am Ramona Net Pastor from Mindoro. She'll be sharing to us about her campus beekeeping program naman sa Mindoro. Yeah. And then, again, this is the schedule of the trainings for UPB program. And just to quickly plug, these are our products po. You can visit our Shopee, Shal 1206. Our brand is Hania. And we also still have the Stingwin board game. It's about the fascinating world of bees and honey. It's good for ages 7 and up, 2 to 5 players. We also have beauty bars. All beauty bars are with honey. Again, thank you. And see you again next Sabado nights. Oh, Ma'am Jack, any words? Anything po? Thank you for joining po. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Ito po yung usual na ano po, closing video. But you can leave anytime. Thank you po.
Daddy, meeting workshop.
Okay, we're done.